Sewbliss. Today I'm going to start a 3-part series on how to make 3 different stuffed animals. The first animal that we're going to make is a seahorse. The supplies that you're going to need for this project are, first you're going to need some fabric. I used cotton on the front and flannel on the back, and I got a 1/4 yard cut of each, and I still have a ton left over, so you don't need very much fabric. Then you're going to need a pattern, and I actually hand drew mine. If you liked my pattern, I will leave a link for it below and you can use that. And if not, you could just Google search different patterns, and I'm sure there's a ton of free ones out there. Then you're going to need some stuffing to make the animal into a stuffed animal. And we're going to be using all of our basic sewing supplies, including the iron. Now, let's get started. Now our first step is going to be getting the pattern ready. And once you have the pattern ready, then you're ready to cut it out. So when you're cutting out, you're going to want to make sure that if you're doing 2 different fabrics, or even if you're just doing the same fabric, you're going to want to get a left side and a right side. So that way, when you put them together, you can put the right sides together and it all match up. So just make sure you're doing that. And now I'm ready, after pinning it, to cut my seahorse out. Now, after my pieces are cut out, I'm going to take the thin pieces, so there should be 2 of them, and I'm going to put them right sides together. So here I have both of my right sides placed together, and I'm going to go over to my sewing machine and I'm just going to stitch all the way around, but not on this side, because this side is going to attach to the seahorse right here, and that will also make it so that we can turn it right sides out. Now after I've stitched all the way around this side of the fin, I trimmed the corners. So I cut off the actual corner piece and then I just trimmed it up to that point. So that way when we actually turn it right sides out, the corner will be able to stick out nicer because there won't be as much fabric bunched in there. So now I'm ready to turn it right sides out. And you'll probably want a point turner for these corners to pull them out. But if you don't have a point turner, you could take a needle and thread and just take that needle and pull that corner out. And then you can thread it, put the thread through and just pull it. And that helps bring that corner out. And I didn't knot the thread or anything because it's just going to come out. And then I can do it the same thing to the next corner. Now with the fin turned right sides out, I'm just going to take it over to my ironing board and iron it down so that way it looks really nice and it's all ready to be placed on the seahorse. Now with the fin complete, I'm then ready to do the seahorse. So here I have my pieces right sides together, and I'm actually going to take the fin and it will go right here, but obviously I want it with the right sides. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place it on the inside just like a sandwich, and I'll place it right against the edge of where I want it sewn in, and then cover it up, and then I can just pin it in and I will sew those seams together. Now with my 2 fabrics pinned together with the fin on the inside, I'm then ready to sew the seahorse together. Now we're going to sew it almost like the way we did the fin, and I'm going to sew all the way around it. I'll probably start down here and sew all the way around, but then I'll leave an opening that's about 2 inches wide, so that way we can turn it right sides out. Now once you've sewn your seahorse pieces together, before we turn it right sides out, you're going to want to do a little trimming. Now on all these curves, I'm going to want to cut out little triangles just right to the stitching. You don't want to cut through the stitching, just to the stitching. And that'll make it so that the curve will sit nicely once we turn it right sides out. We can also cut some triangles out of the belly area and along the tail. For the curves that are concave right now, you can just cut slits so that way when it opens up, it can spread a little bit and has more room to spread. Now once you're done cutting all the triangles on your curves, then you can turn it right sides out. So this is what it should look like. You can see down here I still have my hole opening right there. So next I'm going to take mine over to the iron, and I'm going to iron all the wrinkles out and just make sure it lays nice And obviously we're gonna stuff it after that, so I don't need to iron it too bad. But I'm just gonna make sure all my edges are pulled out. Like this one's still tucked in, so I need to pull that one out. And then I'm going to iron this opening. So I'll fold it under 1/4 inch, which is what I just sewed all my seams at. So I'll fold it 1/4 inch and iron that down, so that way we can hand sew that close. Now after I've ironed, I'm then ready to start stuffing it. So I'm slowly going to take little pieces at a time and just stuff them in these little pieces right here and up in here, just making sure I fill every little piece in so that it will look nice. Now once you have your seahorse stuffed to the amount you want it, next we're going to pin that opening that we were putting the stuffing through, and I'm going to hand sew that together. So we're just going to need a needle and a thread and your seahorse, and I'm going to start at the opening at one end, and I'm just going to take a little piece on the inside so that way the knot that I made will be on the inside and not on the outside. So I'll just go through right there. And I am using 2 pieces of thread together on the needle so that way it holds up a little bit stronger in case you want to do that. So now I went on the blue side, so now I'm going to go over to the pattern side and right along that seam, so you can see right along here, I'm just going to take a little chunk going to the left. So take that chunk and pull it through and tighten. Now I'm going to go to the blue side and do the same thing. So take a little chunk, making sure you're still on that seam. So it's the 1/4 inch line that you should have ironed. So I just take a chunk. And now I'm going to go back to the pattern side and take a little chunk just like that right there. I can take that needle out now. And you'll see it's tidying up and coming together. And you shouldn't be able to see your threads. You can obviously see where that knot is. I'm going to need to clip that. But all along here, these threads should be invisible if you do it right in that seam. Now once you get to the end of your opening, I just tied a knot and then put my threads through to the middle. Now once you're done closing up that opening, you can be done. Or if you want to, you can add an eye to the seahorse on both sides or one side or whatever you want to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a needle and a thread and stitch in a circle. You could do a circle, you could do an oval, you could do an X, you could do whatever shape you want. Or you could even do a button for an eye. There's tons of things that you could do. I'm just going to do a circle, just kind of stitching in the same place over a couple of times, so that way it looks nice and defined. Now once I'm done with the eye, I am all done with my seahorse. Thanks for watching this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to stay tuned for the next video in this series, and make sure to subscribe to Sewbliss, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!